Wish We Could Turn Back Time by Girlinpink44. Chapter 15. Peter held tight to Ben's hand as they made their way around the crowded street fair. All around them, carnival games were going on, and there was some amazing smelling food. But if Peter was perfectly honest, he didn't care about any of that. He was too busy having fun doing something people only dreamed of doing. Today he was spending time with his uncle, when to him he had been dead for years. Of course, there was the whole time reset thing. He might be younger, but Peter wasn't stupid. He'd dabbled in quantum physics from time to time, usually in a class like English or history, where he was bored and needed to entertain himself. There were theories, for sure. Apparently Tony even managed to crack the code using PimTech. While the internet had taken a 10-year-sized step back from his perspective, he had pulled up some of Dr. Pym's papers and read up on what he had to date to see if he could figure out how his dad had done it. "What's going on through that curly head of yours, Pete?" "Peter smarter, Ben. Quantum physics."
Ben laughed. "Is that so?"
Peter nodded. "Just wrapping my head around everything. All of it. You. I'm glad we're here." To his surprise, Ben picked him up. There were times that Peter half forgot just how tiny he currently was. It was annoying. He couldn't ride any of the cool rides anymore. But it made him small enough for his dad or Ben to pick him up, and part of him loved that. There were moments where he wanted to let himself act the age he was on the outside and let his family baby him. It felt good. Video chatting with his dad at night, playing with Ned, having both Ben and May take care of him.
"I'm sorry you had to go through all that."
Peter leaned down, resting his head on his uncle's shoulder and breathing in his scent. It was quickly becoming as familiar and welcoming as May and his dad's. It's not okay. But it's okay now. You're here, and things will be different this time. He paused. "Do I smell kebabs?" Ben laughed and walked over, and soon the pair were happily snacking.
"I can't pretend I understand what's going on, Peter. This whole thing, it's crazy."
"You're telling me."
"I see my 6-year-old nephew, and then sometimes I see the boy you've become, and I'm so proud. You met Tony Stark."
"Technically, I met him at the expo first." Ben shook his head.
"No, he saved your life because you decided to play the hero."
"And then I became one."
"Still not sure how I feel about that."
Peter finished his kebab and then leaned his head on Ben's shoulder. "If bad things happen, and I have the power to stop them, and I don't, then they happen because of me. No one else should lose their Uncle Ben's if I can stop it."
"Oh, kiddo."
Ben kissed the top of his head.
"You've got such a big heart. But every bad thing that happens isn't your fault, including whatever happened to me."
Peter wiped his eyes on Ben's shirt. No matter what anyone said, Peter blamed himself for what happened that night. But now Ben was here, and he was alive, and his dad was alive, and he hadn't been gone for 5 years. It was a second chance. It was an experience. One that he was going to make the best of. He may be tiny now, but he could still tinker, invent, study, find ways to help his dad save the world from Thanos. Make sure his dad suffered as little pain as possible, and pick up the pieces if something happened. When Peter was 6 the first time around, it was just him, Ned, Ben, and May. Then Ben was gone, and it was just him, Ned, and May. And then Tony came. And then there was Happy, Pepper, and Rhodey. And now he had everyone, and a brother too. It was one of the weirdest situations he had ever seen, but honestly, he hadn't been this happy in a long time. Tony wondered if there would ever be a moment where he felt less weirded out by the fact that he was technically 15 years in the past. Fashion was different, people were younger. He was so different. But then there were things that were soothing, like wandering through the halls of SI Los Angeles with employees greeting him happily. Had they always greeted him that way at this point? Had he just been that oblivious? Granted, at this point in the timeline, he was basically a recluse in the Malibu mansion, letting Obi do whatever he wanted. Hindsight really was 20/20 there. Good morning, Dr. Stark.
Good to see you, Dr. Stark.
Hope you have a good day, Dr. Stark. Similar greetings followed him around as he made his way through the building to his office. Pepper was to his right, Rhodey to his left, Happy at his rear. Tony did his best to smile, return the greetings, and make small talk with what details he remembered from some of the employees. That reminded him, if memory served, one of the paralegals in Legal's daughter was about to be diagnosed with cancer. He'd have to keep an eye out for it and see if he could pay treatment for her slide into a bonus. Today was fully about Stark Industries. For now, as far as the world was concerned, he was owner and CEO. Eventually, he'd hand it over to Pepper. Perhaps he could find a way to weave it and the engagement announcement together and prevent her from being openly roasted as she had been before. He had been such an idiot as to how he had handled it. Granted, he was aware that he couldn't stop all of the negative press, and her track record would speak for her soon enough. Good morning, Dr. Stark. Can I get you a coffee? Rosita asked, looking up from her desk.
I'd love that, Rosita.
Thank you. Tony smiled at the woman, who was still with Stark Industries in his time. She hadn't been blipped, but had lost most of her family, and seemed to hold him and Pepper closer because of it. The woman smiled and got up, heading for the small break room tucked into the middle of the executive floor. Tony, you have a board meeting at 10. R&D wants to meet with you at 1 to go over the schematics you set. Depending on how your meetings go, we may want to schedule with marketing later this week and beginning to create concepts for the campaign. He nodded.
Sit in on the board meetings with me. I want them to get used to you being there.
She opened the door to his office and waved him in. Of course. Rhodey filed in behind them, Happy entering last. Both of them looked tense.
The FBI is coming in today to arrest Obadiah. It will be sometime this afternoon.
It was coming. The closure that Tony had waited 15 years for.
Boss, your job today is to appear busy. You can't give away that you know what's coming. People need to see you out and about running the company. Preferably with Pepper at your side, which will make the later transition smoother.
Rhodey nodded to Pepper. A knock on the door interrupted their conversation. Your coffee, Dr. Stark.
You know you can call me Tony, Rosita.
He walked over and took the cup. I couldn't possibly, sir, she grinned. I called ahead to your favourite deli and ordered your usual for lunch. It should be here after the board meeting. You need to get some meat back on your bones as you're recovering. There was a faint glow on his chest, the arc reactor shining through his shirt. She eyed it.
Thank you, Rosita.
Tony grinned at the woman.
What would I do without you?
Between me and Pepper, we keep you on the straight and narrow. Pepper laughed. Isn't that the truth? Tony smiled and took his coffee and headed over to his desk. It almost felt foreign as it had become Pepper's office, and he had taken a smaller one on the rare occasion that he was there. Perhaps that was something else he should rectify. It was easier in the tower, as it was just downstairs from where he lived. The agenda for the meeting was sitting on the top of the desk, and he looked over it, reviewing the notes, making some of his own. He pulled up the schematics he had drawn up on his tablet. Jarvis had helped him review them and make sure that while they were groundbreaking, they weren't too mind-blowing from the future. Jarvis's new firewalls, on the other hand, he wanted a certain one-eyed pirate to try and break into that this time around. Looking at the clock, he saw he had about 15 minutes until the meeting, but decided to head there early. He had a chance to make a difference in how he treated this company. And while board meetings would always be the bane of his existence, he felt as though he was on better terms with them. Plus, unlike last time, he had so many things to show them. While he may be in the past now, he was ready to lead the world into the future. Starting with a meeting he hoped wasn't exceptionally mind-numbing. Tony was the first in the boardroom. A bit of a shock, even to him. He took his coffee cup, took a deep sip, and sat down.
Jay, can you upload some slides so I can give the board a preview before my R&D meeting? Of course, sir.
As much as Tony would love to take credit for the invention of Bluetooth headphones, he could not. But he could claim that he did perfect them. He was currently wearing a prototype that he had invented. It also helped that Jarvis had a constant link to the device, so he always had his co-pilot along.
Thanks, Jay.
Tony leaned back in his chair and observed the seat. 4 would be empty. He'd have to find people to appoint to the seats. Honestly, he was considering offering a seat to Hank if he agreed to the deal. The others... There were possibilities. It opened outlets for new allies. Something to think on. One by one, the other members made their way in, some stopping at the coffee bar in the back of the room and got a cup before finding a seat. Stane showed up. It took every ounce of Tony's childhood grooming to not react in a way that would give up what was set to happen later that day. Instead, he smiled, stood up, and shook the hand of the man that had betrayed him.
I am excited to see what you have come up with, my boy. I hope you're ready for this.
Tony smiled before walking away to mingle with the other members. Most of the faction who made his life difficult left around this time around without Obadiah holding their hand during this period. It would make the Stark Industries side of the plan that much easier. He made his way to the head of the table after he made sure he talked to everyone.
Gentlemen.
At that moment, Tony realized that there were no women on his board, and he needed to change that, preferably before having Pepper take over.
2 weeks ago, I stood before you after making a decision that would change the way our company works. Congratulations on staying with me despite Wall Street encouraging you to keep your options open. I want to present to you what I'm working on and the direction we will take over the next couple of years. Over the next few months, I plan to reveal more and more.
The group sat up, paying attention to Tony. While he hated board meetings with a passion, he did relish at the chance to command the room, or have all of the attention on him. In this building, he was known, respected, and about to change the world. He was in his element.
Jay, slide 1, please.
The slide featured the first model of the Stark phone appeared.
Let's take a moment to be honest with ourselves. Apple and Samsung have gone stale when it comes to phones. They're relying on brand loyalty at this point. So, there's room in the market for someone to break in. Welcome to the first product in our tech line. If you check your emails, you'll have my spec sheet. R&D will help me solidify these details, and of course, I will review the final product again. What makes this different from the other phones in the market? A member halfway down the table asked. The graphics card. I've taken a look at what's on the market, and designed ones that beats what's out there. We could dominate the market on that alone, especially with the rise of social media and YouTube. Battery life is superior as well.
Sometimes being from the future was a fantastic thing. He didn't have to do the research. He just made things that he had made before.
Eventually, I want to explore options at different price points. But for the first time around, we'll start with the phone. I also want to focus on processing power to make sure that people can watch videos more efficiently on their phones. Trust me, that's a game we want to be competitive in early.
The board nodded. From there, Tony walked them through the tablets, the Bluetooth headphones, and earpieces and computers. He was going for the nerds and the younger audience, but trying to reach the older ones. He loved making tech. He loved green energy, but there was something about the tech line that thrilled him. He had solved the green energy problem. It was finding ways to reproduce it that became the challenge. This time around, he could move faster, smarter, and make it accessible faster. Pulling up his phone, he shot a text to Pepper, asking how the progress on the tower's early steps was going.
In addition to our tech line, I'm going to look into the pending energy crisis, but I need more time before I propose a plan for that. We are also going to launch a medical line. Our flagship product will be a line of medical prosthetics and braces. While we are going to sell these on the commercial market, I want to visit donating some to charity every year to veterans as well, especially ones who were harmed with our weapons.
Reminding people about the leak caused some to squirm.
The investigation is still ongoing, and as soon as I know the details, I will release them to you. More nods. These schematics are going to R&D, and when we have our timeline, we are going to approach marketing. With us going out of the military sector and more into public sector, I plan on creating a lot more jobs in that department. I also plan on taking us from a national organisation to an international one within the next 5 years. That got people's attention. As I said, gentlemen, welcome to the future. Now I have got exactly 37 minutes to inhale a sandwich, prepare my notes, and make it to R&D building, so with this I am going to bid you a good day.
And with an amount of gravitas that few besides him possessed, Tony strode out of the boardroom. While the boardroom had made him feel both itchy and at home, when it came to the R&D department, he was in his element. Scientists ran around the building working on various projects. Their task for the last 2 weeks was to brainstorm ideas of what they wanted to see Stark Industries create. And they didn't disappoint. What followed were hours upon hours of exchanging ideas. They took his tech ideas and ran with them. Some had ideas for the medical side, skin grafts, burn treatment options, hearing aids maybe, finding a way to link both technical and medical. Eventually, he'd let Peter pitch his MediWeb project he'd been just starting on when everything went to hell. The kid would love to work on a project at SI, and Tony'd be remiss not to have Harley finally play around with the retro-reflective panels and other camouflage tech to make different prosthetic designs. By hour 2, there were 6 whiteboards out, various plans spread across each board, a list of ideas following them. With the tech, they wanted to explore the software side. Tony wanted to see where they got with an operating system before he butted in. He offered up suggestions for their version of Siri or Alexa. A name was to be determined. But there were a few, if any, people on the planet that knew more about AIs than he did, and he wasn't about to let them dominate that market a second time. He was Tony Stark. His tech was better, stronger, and faster. Stronger. He walked over to the phone board and made a note about durability.
Buy up some of the competitors' phones. I want to see how much or how little it takes to break them. Find out why. Figure out how we can mitigate that.
That earned him nods and sent people on a round of frantic note-taking and spitballing ideas. Base apps, bonus apps, reaching out to existing developers. Tony tossed ideas around with the best of them, and loved every second of it. For a bit, he wasn't their boss. He was just another scientist dreaming up ideas. It was the first time in years he had felt this energized by work, Avengers or SI related. He wanted more of this. He had missed this. Dr. Stark? He looked up from where he sat poring over schematics for the computer. Already this project had developed into at least 3 models, with room for growth after the initial launch.
Yes?
Did you mean it?
I can promise you that I rarely say things I don't mean.
Tony stared at the woman.
But in what particular?
About the future. About doing things differently.
Every word. I want suggestions from you guys. If there's research you're interested in, send in a proposal. If you know of groundbreaking research that might never see the light of day due to a lack of funding, I want to know about it. There are plenty of people who just need a hand to change the world, and I'd love to have them do it under our umbrella.
Everyone had stopped working to listen.
Yes, my name is on the building, but I can't do it all. I need you guys. And I know, I completely changed your jobs and you didn't sign in.
A man, really a boy, probably a college intern judging by how young he looked, raised his hand. I'm in! Me too! One by one, the entire room raised their hands to show their support of Tony's idea. Tony grinned, not his media smile, but a genuine one.
Welcome to the future, guys.
Sir,
the FBI have entered the building.
Jay's voice rang out.
Keep me posted, Joe.
Tony nodded to the team.
It's going to be a rough few months, but when we reveal all of this, when we start to change the world, it will open doors.
The group clapped.
Now, I apologize. I have to head back to the administration building, but I'm going to do my best to stop by more often.
He made his way out, and Rhodey fell into step beside him.
You seem happier than you've been in a long time. I feel alive. There's so much less pressure right now. I know it's a ticking time bomb, but I'm riding the thrill as long as I can.
Tony grinned.
We can do so much good with the smaller picture while changing the bigger picture. New friends all around. The future is bright, Honey Bear, and I have all the people I love here to share it with.
He slung his arm around his best friend, who shoved him off. The pair laughed as they made their way into the admin building. They made their way to Tony's office, where Pepper, Happy, and a couple of FBI agents waited. Tony stopped cold.
What's going on?
Tony Stark. One of the agents spoke. Tony scoffed. Honestly, he couldn't help it.
You know it's me. What's going on?
We entered your company 30 minutes ago to serve a warrant to arrest Obadiah Stane. So far, we haven't been able to locate him. Units dispatched to his home say that he is not there either. At this moment, Obadiah Stane is a fugitive of the law. End of chapter. Hi guys, hope you enjoyed that one. I like that chapter. I like everything about that. And we are working with cliffhangers here, people. So, what's old Obi doing? You'll see you next chapter. Bye.